of all, what can you tell us about your lineup tonight?
We'll see closer to game time. Hamanek's going to play. We weren't sure. He hadn't skated, so he's going to play. So we got a decision to make there. It's his 700th game. He's got a lot of family here, so that'll bring our group a little bit of energy. And we'll make a decision on the rest of the group later today.
What are your expectations of Travis? What have you heard from Vancouver and others around the league about his game?
Well, I've watched him play plenty in the Canadian division. Obviously, Jack's had him. We know what we're getting. I just think he's a guy, earlier in his career, he was a big hitter, that kind of guy. I think like he said, he's a plus player in his career, and I think knows how to play the position of defense and has worked on getting better with the puck. I think, it's fair to give him some practices and some games with this group, but I think you're going to see a guy that can play against the other team's best players, but also a guy that can get some pucks to the net for us, and help us breaking out, is one thing we certainly got to get better at.
What did you see from Matthew Joseph, who made his debut against the Islanders, and is it safe to assume that Game 2 with a new team might be a little bit better and easier?
Yeah, well, he told me, he goes, I was a little bit tired, sluggish, but I think that's just mental fatigue from, meeting new teammates, new everything. It's more the stress of the day probably that had him tired. I think he'll continue to get better. He seems like he's fitting in with the group. He's got a lot of energy. He's a fun guy to be around, and it's good to be around and have guys like that.
What can a coach do to attempt to manufacture some offense? Obviously, goal scoring has been a problem for the hockey club of late. And, no Drake Batherson, no Thomas Chabot. Obviously, you've lived without those guys for a while here. But is there anything coaching-wise that you can do to help guys score?
Well, we had the puck in the O-zone, 5.5 minutes last game. We had, some opportunities off the rush. Give the Islanders credit. They do that to a lot of teams, too. They've a big, strong, tough D that don't let you get to the net, and they have really good goaltending. So I think we ended up with 3 chances, and usually you score a couple when that happens. So there'll be a game here shortly that it's going to go in for us. But we know, we're offensively challenged, at this point. It's hard to score in the National Hockey League. We have a lot of guys that are, that check and work, but it's hard to score. And the more you have the puck, the better the chance, certainly. And usually it's our power play that gets it done. Or to be honest, we create a lot of offense on our penalty kill. Shorthanded breakaways or what have you. So I think we just got to take the pressure off here a little bit, and one goes in and we'll start to feel good.
And tonight you're playing a team that's 3 points out of a playoff spot. I'm guessing that matching desperation will be part of your theme here tonight when talking to the team.
Yeah, absolutely. They absolutely need these 2 points tonight, and it's going to be good for Timmy, and it's going to be good for Norris, and it's going to be good for Branny and these guys to see how hungry a team is, and they're going to be out there playing those minutes against them. And if you want to be in the playoffs next year and you want to do all these things, you got to be able to bang with these teams. Now, certainly it's going to help us when we get a little healthier here shortly. It'll help our depth. But those guys, are going to continue to be put in spots. I'm going to try Timmy on the penalty kill, and we're going to do some things here that is going to put these guys in situations where maybe they haven't been in before.
Just one final one for me. Is there a chance, what's the update on Drake Batherson? Still the plan is to have him play Saturday?
Yeah, obviously it has to be 1,000%. I've said that before. I'm not going to, at this point in time, wins and losses, you want to win every game, but I am not putting any of those guys at risk if they're not 1,000%. I want him in there. It's going to help us, and if he's ready, he'll play. And when he gets in there, you're going to have to give him some leeway. He's been out, 8-9 weeks or whatever it's been, but certainly he'll help the group. And we're hoping he plays Saturday, but I don't want to say that for sure.
When you said that you're going to move some players in positions that they haven't particularly been, is that the approach down the stretch that you're going to have, or more specifically just for this?
No, down the stretch. I think, your best players, especially centers, if you look at the best teams in the league, they all kill penalties. And, you want to give everyone a role. But just look at Tampa Bay. They have Stamkos killing penalties, and they have Point killing penalties. They didn't start doing that, at the start of their career. But I think Norris has been integrated here. Timmy got some last game. I think it's key for us to have your best players in all situations. And I think now's the perfect time to do that.
We have to Central Division?
Well, for sure. We're not as big as maybe we were a week ago. We've got rid of some older players and some bigger players, but we're going to have to rely on speed, and we're going to have to rely on our work ethic. But we know that the Western Conference is big and heavy, and there's some big teams that are going to try and impose their will, I guess, on us. But we ain't backing down from anybody. We got some gritty guys and some tough guys in there, and I think. When this puzzle's all done and everything fits in, I think you're going to see that we're a team that can play against any style.